Good evening. When was the last time you masturbated? I'm sorry, was that too forward? Well, allow me to rewind. Or would you rather I ignore what causes you to replay what you thought you had stopped but just paused to see? So if sin is recorded in your heart, how could you not go back to something that you miss? I was never any good at math, but 11 years old plus video games should have never equaled me stimulating myself for the first time, and that first time turned into any time I had a free hand. This 5-fingered discount had me jacking myself of my integrity, but my heart was still, so I'd still, I'm guessing this felony armed robbery never convicted me. I was made in the image of God, but played the role of a foolish squirrel the way I would abandon the acorn tree of life, and without intervention would have chased a single nut down to hell, but I thought the church would cure me. Instead, it caused further clarity to hatch from my eyelids, just so I knew how sore of a sight I was to see. It makes sense to me now why jewelers specialize in boxing rings, yet them things are made circular. I know why now. Once you get in that ring, you will go rounds fighting. Impatience, loneliness, and lack of self-control. You see, Satan will always try to make you skip Thanksgiving dinner for a 50-cent bag of hot Cheetos. Yeah, and I can call out the ladies, but their ringers are usually on denial. But shh, maybe you can hear me a little better if you put your vibrators on silence if you're single. Your body is for God. If you're married, it's for your husband to share, but temples could easily turn playgrounds when boys interfere. Your discipline could erode if you keep unwrapping your gift improperly. Even your hands can become trespassers into what used to be called private areas, now becomes public property. It's no wonder your punctuation discernment is off. Sideways smiles got your heart open like one parenthesis, but you probably should have paused like a comma before he made it a point to get under your curves without popping the question first. But hey, what's the big deal? Everybody does it anyway, right? Like 50% of the Christian men admit to having indulged recently. 1 out of 5 women admit to doing it weekly, and these are just those who have the guts to admit it. But the sad reality is these numbers are probably higher and will only increase with your kids. So on what side of these stats will you choose to be? Let's get biblical. No one could really find a place in the scripture that speaks directly against it, but I don't recall parents holding signs that say, "Don't kidnap my children." You simply know this because you understand the love of a parent. What more, the love of a jealous God? I'm not lying. See, masturbation is one of the few acts you can break all of the 10 commandments at one time. Check it. Wow. 1, thou shalt not have any other gods before me. When your need to please you supersedes your need to please him, you have voted yourself an idol without auditions or Simon. Come on. Y'all look at me like, is he really about to cross-reference masturbation with all the 10 commandments? 2, thou shalt not worship created images. But let's be honest, you get creative when you get into it. For example, the top of your dome has become like the Sistine Chapel. You become a mediocre modern-day Michelangelo, forcing your body to praise the Galleria of your imagination until every sensation sings, "How great thou art." 3, thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain. Well, you call yourself Christian, but consistently practice this sin, so what more can I say? 4, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Well, that's broken because instead of taking your time off of your work in sin to rest in him, you keep clocking in, consistently working to acknowledge yourself, seeking paydays in the format of an orgasm. 5, honor thy mother and thy father. You've dishonored them because you've negated the design of the function that birthed you, yet you court with the idea and engage with the act. So when you marry the sin, why you want to divorce the consequences? 6, thou shalt not murder. Every time you slip away into this trap and consistently attempt to come back, he'll accept you, but in the process you have trampled God's grace, spit in his face, and yes, murdered his son again and again and again. 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. Well, we can all agree that your body is not yours, so what do you think you do when you're having sex with someone who does not belong to you? 8, thou shalt not steal. Every time you try to satisfy yourself, you're robbing God of an opportunity to satisfy you the right way, completely. 9, thou shalt not lie. Well, you are. You're lying to your body by your actions, telling it that you have power in your hand to make you happy, and that somewhere along the line, God must have made a mistake. Now, is it just me? Or does that sort of sound similar to the statements of Snake? 10. Thou shalt not covet. Well, like I said before, you're desiring a body that is not yours, but having sex with yourself is beyond covetous or dishonorable. It's called same-sex relations, and which, according to scriptures, is abominable. But let's think about it. When Satan came to Jesus and tempted him to turn stone into bread to satisfy his hunger. Now, eating bread is not a sin. No. The travesty... I'm sorry, guys. No, I got a message. The travesty is indulging in something changed from God's original design at the counsel of a liar. That is perversion. But how do we fix it? The problem is we can't. But God sent his son to willingly rendezvous with our sin-colored skin out of Egypt. Let your heart be his slave, and your presence be his Pharaoh. So even when your flesh tries to rise like Moses, just know this: he will never let his people go. And the doorframes of our soul can boast with lamb's blood smeared with righteous, with God's sent deliverer, carrying a cross like staff that parted the Red Sea and broke every chain 2,000 years before that song could even be made. Today, in our journey to please him, Genesis, versus our journey to please ourselves, Exodus. Thank you.